Hello everyone, welcome to another video test of the angle of the new GoPro Hero 4 Silver. So far I've already done one test and the angle looked pretty good, but the video itself was very kind of shaky and just kind of almost looked like it was mounted on a bobblehead or something, so I don't know exactly what that was. I tried the mount where I have it on a curved front chin mount. I pulled all that tape off and kind of redid it on a little more professional looking manner. Not as it looked better, but it has no wobble to it at all. It's right before making this video when I fixed the helmet last night. The previous way I did it actually had, I think I built up too much tape on one side versus the other, trying to make it flat, trying to compensate for the contour of the helmet. As far as the curve goes, and I put too much on one side, and even with just, not going down the road, just having the arm on there at the house with the camera, and the housing and everything, you could barely wiggle it back and forth, and I think that's where a lot of that would come from. So I took that off and redid it, and now the mount is not only looks better, but is much more solid than it was before. Not that it was going to come off before, but it did look kind of bad a little bit, and it had a lot of play in it, and I'm pretty sure that's where most of that was coming from. So I don't know how this video turned out, but if it does turn out pretty well, then I'll upload it on my channel. As of recording this at this time, maybe sometime this afternoon, I might try to play around a little bit with the GoPro editing software. I'm totally new to the whole GoPro thing. Before on my channel previously, I had a Sena Prism camera, awesome camera for the money, very versatile. The only thing is, the only way to get you couldn't get a first-person view, a chin mount, like the way this is now, just because of the way the Sena was made, because the lens was on the front of it, the long end of the camera, versus where the GoPro is square and it's on the front. So your only way was to side mount it or put it on top of your head. And I just don't think some people might be okay with the top of the head view, but I personally, watching videos, I don't like it. It feels like, you're sitting on top of the person's helmet, no matter how much they adjust it all the way forward to try to compensate for that, or just in general, just to try to make it look better. It just looks weird to me. I just wanted to not only do this to make a more professional looking video for not only my channel, but riding memories of places where I might go, where I might just turn the camera on and not even vlog at all. But I think overall, once I play with this GoPro and get all the, I already have the previous video, the audio is fantastic. I am using a 10S for the audio and the mic off it, and I kind of went one step above what some people might do with this initial setup first trying it. The Sena itself comes with a little sock to go over the boom mic, an extra one. Excuse me. I'm using the wired mic setup currently, not the boom, but I put that sock over that, and then on the Sena app itself, I turn noise cancellation off. And so far with the previous video, other than shaking, the angle is pretty close. It's just the shaking was off, so I had to try to fix that. But I put the sock over it to cut down on even more wind noise, and with the software that's on there, the noise cancellation thing, where it's such a clean audio feed. Voice sounds good, even though I'm not that much of a public speaker. I'll be honest with everybody, I'm just not. That's not who I am. But the outside ambient was noise. You could hear a little bit of the exhaust note from the bike, a little bit of the actual engine noise up where I'm sitting at, and then you could hear a little bit of outside noise, but hardly no wind noise at all. Super fantastic with it. I might try to make another video today besides this one, just to see what it's like at true interstate speeds, 65, 70 mile an hour on the 4-lane highway, not too far from here, just a couple miles. I believe it's east or towards, more towards another town than where I live. But so far, so good. The GoPro thing's going to take a little bit of a learning curve, but I think overall it'll pay off in the end, because everybody, from what I film, they'll end up seeing a more first-person view, exactly what my eyes are looking at. And so far it's been pretty good. It's been a learning curve, but you know, everybody's new at everything at one time or another. I will have to say though, this Shoei RF1200 Valkyrie graphic it's red, black, and a little bit of white on it, and a little bit of silver trim. It's fantastic. I had a Shoei GT Air before this one, and it was a good helmet, good all-around touring helmet. But this helmet here, even with the vlog setup, all of it, like the GoPro and everything on here, is way lighter. It's more comfortable. You know, I'm doing 45 miles an hour, and it seems like I'm doing 30 to me right now. The helmet itself, with all the vents closed anyway, I have them all closed right now because it's like 40 degrees. It's a little chilly. Seems to do real well. I don't know how it's going to be with the vents open, but we'll see. The 10S works really well. I had a SMH10 by Sena on my GTR helmet, and that worked well for what it was. But you know, the 10S has a lot of the same DNA as the 20S. Mainly some of the upgraded speakers and just stuff like that, you know. But it did real well for what it was. My only really gripe about the 10S was on interstate speed. It was when you turn it all the way up, it was a little hard to hear. But you know, I'm riding a semi-naked bike with just a little front nose fairing, so you can't expect it to perform miracles either, I guess. But the main reason I got the 10S was has the FM radio, which works decent, not wonderful, but if you get tired of listening to playlists on your phone, at least it gives you something else to listen to, you know. And that's all a good option to have when you're on little like day trips like I go on, where you may ride, you know, better part of the day, you know, 5 or 6 hours, you know, maybe not all at once, but you know, total. So, but the Shoei helmet is a really good helmet. Not only is it a lot lighter, it's also snail approved also, which everything you can do to prevent yourself from maybe getting injured on a motorcycle that are dangerous but are so much fun is a plus in my book, you know. Always, even if I'm going just afternoon work ride, once I get home and get everything done and stuff, I myself always full gear up no matter what. I don't care if it takes 5 more minutes to put my true riding pants on and all that stuff versus blue jeans, because you know, I just, even though you know riding pants aren't as good as true leathers, which I don't have, but still a whole lot better than blue jeans in my opinion. But I also put the auto darkening shield on this helmet, and from the outside looking in the mirror, it looks pretty dark. On the inside it's fairly dark. It's not super dark, but that's okay to me because you know, if you're riding in places up like where I live in East Tennessee, up in the mountains like Blue Ridge Parkway, 421, you know, the Dragon, any of that kind of stuff. If you go into places like right now, like it's full sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, and it's doing a good enough job that I'm not squinting, but it could be a little darker. But my only reason why I think that's kind of a good thing that's not super dark is because when you go up, like I said, when you go up in the mountains, in the shade and the trees and stuff, when you go in a little bit of shade, it's not going to be so dark you have to raise your visor up and down, up and down, up and down. Of course, it has supposedly like 3, 4, I don't know how many. It has a couple different levels of darkness. Like I can already tell that it's darker now versus when I first left the house because I'm in more sunlight versus a little bit in the shade. Plus, from what I've read, reviews and stuff from other people, and even on Shoei website, it supposedly changes the temperature changes outside, whether it's hotter or colder, depends on how fast it actually turns. So we'll see how that works out. So far so good. It took a little bit of getting used to getting all the speakers from the 10S in there right on this, where I didn't feel any pressure from it. Took a little bit of tweaking here and there, but if anybody's trying that setup, you need to kind of try to put your speakers kind of almost recess them a little bit in your cheek pads, and that'll get them away from your ears a little bit more instead of putting them just in the ear pockets. That's what seemed to work for me. Put maybe about a quarter side of it towards the face shield of the helmet of the speaker, and I did that on both sides, and it seemed to work really well. So but we'll see how this video turns out. Hopefully it's not all shaky, and I'll be uploading this maybe this afternoon or something. Thanks guys, see you.